Hey everyone, welcome back to Harp and Guitar, People and Music. So for today on our Blues Time Machine, we're actually going to step out from behind the driving wheel and let Big Bill Broonzy take his first spin here. I'm actually going to play that interesting little import record that I found at the record store a few weeks ago. And the nice thing about this is that it doesn't just have a couple of songs performed by Big Bill himself, but he actually speaks a little bit and tells a couple of little stories in between some of the songs. And I thought it was really interesting to hear right from the horse's mouth, if you will, an actual bluesman. Hear some of the historical stories around songs and people and some of the areas in the South around the turn of the last century. And that's some of the things that Big Bill speaks to in this little recording. But before I get to it, and I'm going to break it down into two parts. And the first will be the side A of this record, where Big Bill talks about the Joe Turner blues song, but also the folklore behind the character of Joe Turner himself. And then for part two, what I'll do is I'll play side two, which has two songs on it, and Bill talks a little bit in between them. But before I jump into that, I just want to quickly read a little bit from the liner notes here on the back, as pertaining to the first side here, and then I'll read the remainder for the next video of part two. But the liner notes are very interesting because they're written by Paul Oliver. And for those of you who are out there who may not be aware, Paul Oliver is probably widely considered to be the consummate blues researcher and writer. Many of the best books about either the genre of the blues itself, or how the music evolved, or some of the musicians, or the song content. Some of the best writings and books ever published were written by Paul Oliver. So I just want to quickly read you this little blurb by Paul. So it says here, on a chill evening in late October 1955, the publishing firm of Castle and Company held a cocktail party to launch the autobiography of Big Bill Broonzy's Big Bill Blues, which had been written by the singer in association with Yannick Broeheim. In the curiously mixed assembly of musicians, critics, library men, and their respective ladies, Big Bill was perfectly at ease, willing as ever to talk about his music and to reminisce upon the past. When, after a while, he picked up his guitar to play, his thoughts ran back over his long career, to the very origins of the blues, on which he discoursed in his deep Southern accent and which he illustrated with his deep South songs, totally unconcerned by the incongruity of his surroundings. Joe Turner had been called by Ellie Sigmeister the grandfather of the blues, as heard by W.C. Handy in the late 1890s. It told the story of the long chain man, Joseph Turney, a police official and brother of the governor of Tennessee, Pete Turney, who took the shackled Negro prisoners from Memphis to the state farms where they would be hired out for convict lease labor. But Big Bill's story of Joe Turner is a different one, a kinder one. And as he tells it, he explains in his earnest, strangely poetic way how the folk beliefs of the Southern Negro develop. As he talked, he sang of his poor people who were starving as a result of the Mississippi floods. And he made his guitar wail and moan by slackening and taunting the strings as he plucked them. So, without further ado, let's have a little sample and hear side one of Big Bill Broonzy Sings and Talks, Southern Song, right here on Harp and Guitar, People and Music. And before I go, please don't forget, if you haven't already, to like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. Head over to the homepage, check it out. If you like what you see and hear, give us a subscription. Hit the bell, and let us know what you think down in the comments below. So here we are, Big Bill Broonzy. Thanks everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Joe Turner, the name wrapped around two fellas. The older man, the real man of this song was Mr. Turner. Of course, we never did know his first name. And the Negro that worked for him, we called him Joe. And he trained him to take things to the homes of people that really needed it. Mr. Turner was a man every Negro and every white person in the South knowed about. He had plenty of everything. And he had this Negro, Joe. He raised this Negro from slavery time. From what this Joe told my uncle and my uncle told me, he was what we call it in the States, stranded. That means that everybody go off and leave him, and somebody come along and pick him up. So this Negro that worked for Mr. Turner, he was left out on the road someplace. And Mr. Turner picked him up and he carried him home. And therefore he kept him there because Mr. Turner was a man, he figured everybody in the world should have some way to live. I know that it's a lot of things that we dig up in the South. It's not no really people that do these things, but we believe in those things, you know what I mean? There's people at my home, they stick a stick in the ground now, and it says, what time is it now? He haven't even got a watch. But he look at that stick, and he'll tell you, he said, well, I won't say exact, but it's between 12 and 12:30. And you look at your watch, and I'll bet you $100 to a dime it's between that time. He can't get in 30 minutes. In 30 minutes of time, he got it on that stick, sticking in the ground, and he happened to watch. So those people believes in those things. And if you believe in it and it's right, you're happy, and that's me. This is a song written back in 1892. It's a song that my poor people cried, sung this song. And back in 1892, there was a terrible flood. My poor people lost everything they had. Lost their cotton, their corn, potatoes. Even lost their livestock and everything. And the only man they know to go to that could help them was a man by the name of Joe Turner. And Joe Turner was a man was known to help all poor people, the white and the black. Joe Turner been here and gone. Lord, they tell me Joe Turner been here and gone. Lord, they tell me Joe Turner been here and gone. So they would go out hunting rabbits, coons, and possums, anything they could catch for food. A lot of times they would come home, they didn't catch anything. They would look on their tables and they would find food, which is molasses, meat, meal. And they'd know that Joe Turner had been there and left these things for them. Then they would start crying and singing the same song. Tell me, Joe Turner been here and gone. Lord, they tell me, Joe Turner been here and gone. They tell me, Joe Turner been here and gone. Then sometime they come home, they would find wood, clothes, then they would find kerosene for their lamps. They would light up their lamps. They would all get happy. Then they would start doing a little boogie woogie.